Welcome back to Noviland. Today we're going to do part two of a story of how Kevin Trudeau came into my life. In part one, I gave a lot of details about everything I went through for about 6 months. He was coming, he wasn't coming, who knows. But eventually he did come into my life, and it was pretty cool. Thing is, I didn't really know what to expect. I mean, who could really know what to expect when you get a guy like Kevin Trudeau coming into your life? But before I get into the story, a couple things. First, if you like this, like and subscribe, because this will help the channel. Uh, Second is I would like to edify some people. Um, First person I want to edify is Dr. Tom Morter and his brother, Dr. Ted Morter, for all the help that they've given me. Then Blaine Athorn, and the three of these gentlemen together have really stepped up. They did a tremendous amount to help Kevin. These are all older friends of Kevin. They've known him a long time. And I was blessed that they took over the reins of the club while he was on vacation, as they'll say. And when he got out, or when they helped him come out and they brought him to me. The three of them brought him to me directly. And yes, as I think I said a little bit in part one, uh, they brought him to me late at night. And, his hair was long, but he had a big smile on his face. Uh, his face was a bit gaunt, and he had more of a bigger upper body and a thinner waist from working out 4 or 5 hours a day in prison. Because what else is there to do there? I would do the same. I also want to edify Tanya Canada, who was his assistant. Without her, we might not have the Science of Personal Mastery course as we do in Gin. So next time you run into Tanya Canada, give her a big thank you. She really deserves it. She earns it. Also, without Tanya, we wouldn't have had all that ice cream for when Kevin finally did get out. Now, everybody knows Kevin. He wrote Natural Cures. He's a health guru, knows a lot about making money and many other things. And so when I knew Kevin was coming to me, I got excited. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get healthy. We're going to work out. We're going to eat healthy. I'm going to learn all sorts of things about proper eating and nutrition that I didn't know before. Well, eventually that kind of happened, but not right away. So he was away a long time, and what he wanted was, well, several things he wanted, but one of them was food, real food. Apparently, the food isn't really all that great in prison, and even though he managed to get a job working in the kitchen and did the best he could, it's not the same. So, we had food. I think the first full day we ordered Chinese food, and it was the biggest order of Chinese food this restaurant ever had. Dr. Tom and Ted had picked it up and brought it back to us, and I think the restaurateur was so happy that they actually came and picked up this order. Much like you heard on that last seminar and rally, he wanted to get one of everything from each category just to try it all out. And he might throw away his leftovers now, but back then I was like, no, we're keeping this. We got Chinese food for days. And after a few days, I was sick of it too. But until then, it was amazing. And of course, there was always the ice cream. Once we finished that, we decided we both like simple ice cream, just a simple vanilla, and we went on a journey to find who had the best vanilla. So we tried 10 different brands. And for the first month or so, we tried every restaurant. Now, he couldn't go out, so he would order in and people would deliver. He figured out Grubhub and all those similar types of operations. Amazon and Whole Foods would deliver food, Instacart, anything it could. And so we always had tons of interesting food. And I thought I was going to lose weight. I gained weight for the first month because we were just trying everything. And I was just like, well, what do you want? So, oh, let's try this tonight. So we found like the best burger, the best Italian food, whatever else we can get. The restaurants he couldn't go to, Either they would deliver from Grubhub, or if they were close enough, I would just go pick it up and bring it back. And so we had a lot of amazing, amazing food. Now, when he first got out, he was just in these pair of prison sweats. I didn't know if he had any clothes, and he really didn't. And he had these shoes that I don't even know how these things stayed on his feet. He had these slippers, and he had holes in his sweats, but he was happy. He was comfortable, and he essentially owned two pairs of clothes that were both these gray sweats. Well, he had received a box of clothes that someone had saved for him. Had been shipped to Saima, where he thought he might end up being, but instead it came back to me. So what was in this box? Two Brioni suits, really nice, expensive suits. So he now owned two pairs of sweats and sweatpants and two Brioni suits. I didn't even know if he would fit in them after all these years away. Well, he put the jacket on; it fit him like a glove. He might have been, you know, not exactly the same shape he was when he left, but he was still in pretty good shape, and it looked great on him. Well, he didn't really need it right then because he couldn't really go anywhere. The only way he can go anywhere was to get passes. And to get passes, he had to submit it to whoever was in charge of his case in the Bureau of Prisons. Now, he had to check in 3 times a day, once every 8-hour shift. Plus, they had to check on him 3 times a day, once every 8-hour shift. So he had a call in, and it was a simple 30-second call. Yeah, I'm here. I'm still here. He had GPS on the ankle monitor, so they knew he was there, but they had to make sure he was actually there and not just, you know, his ankle was left or something, or they had to make sure he's still alive, of course. And so once every 8-hour shift, he would call before he went to bed and when he woke up, but they weren't as kind, so they always checked on him about 2 in the morning. In the meantime, he started to acclimate. He had a smartphone. They didn't have smartphones when he went away. So now he had a smartphone and he had a lot of time. So he learned that, he mastered that in a couple days. He would get on the phone with them, with whoever his service provider was, and ask him all the questions as if it was the first time he had ever learned anything. What is this? Go to settings. What is settings? Oh, you mean this little gear looking thing? Okay. So he had to learn everything, and he had no problem asking any questions. It didn't bother him, it didn't stress him out. He was just easygoing about it and happy to be anywhere else other than where he was. So we started to acclimate to each other. Well, one of the first things he asked me for was, how are we going to watch the game, the big football playoff game? I'm like, Kevin, I haven't watched TV in 10 years. One of the reasons I got rid of TV. I still have a TV and a DVD player so I can watch movies. But I don't have cable or any of those things or whatever it is they even use nowadays. So we're calling up AT&T and trying to figure it out. Eventually, uh, one of his helpers had told him about something called a smart TV. I didn't even know that existed either because I just wasn't into that. So we figured that out, and he's like, "Oh, so we got to get a new TV." Okay, so I go to work, I come home, and he goes, "There's a TV ordered for us. It's at Best Buy. Can you go pick it up?" Sure, why not? So I go in my van and I pick up like this 45-inch TV, bring it back, we set it up. Uh, he eventually gets it figured out, and we're watching playoff football. I didn't really care that much, but yeah, sure, why not? I get to watch, you know, TV with Kevin Trudeau and hear his input and just enjoy being a couple guys watching TV, eating good food. Why not? Uh, it surprised me as much as anything. I didn't really expect that. One of the next thing he wanted is he'd been away for a long time, so he wanted to look into the dating scene. Well, he needed a haircut, and he that took him a while to get passes for a haircut, but he was Kevin. He's not going to wait. So he's looking up, what are the high end dating sites so he could find someone, that matches his super high vibe. Okay. So he's looking around, he finds one, and there's a few pictures I took of him in those early days, which won't become the thumbnails on any of this and won't be uh, out in the public. Now, if he chooses to do that on his own, that's great, but I'm not going to be the one to put those out. So, he had this long hair and it didn't really look all that neat. And so he just went in the bathroom, wet it down. And now it's Kevin Trudeau with this big mullet and long hair and a nice smiley picture, which I took of him. And, maybe he took a couple more of his own with his own phone. And he used that picture and he went on the dating site. And he had more women after him than I've had in years doing that thing. Uh, and most of them, they didn't even know who he was. It's just his energy was so strong. Uh, his perception, the way he communicates, the fact that he's had all his relationship blocks cleared and had no resistance to anything. Just, hey, this is beautiful life. And he had all these gorgeous, successful women from around the country, around the world, just like, oh, yeah, yeah, I want to date you. I thought it was amazing. But, you never know what's going to happen. Um, but then that was just the first month. Towards the end of that month, there had been something I had been doing with my friends where I would get a quarter cow of beef at once because it was really quality beef. I could fill a freezer chest with it, and I had beef for like a year. I was just living alone. How much beef do I really need at once? A quarter cow lasted me a long time. Well, so I got that, and about 1 month after he was there, it was his birthday. And I'll get more into his birthday on part three, but the part I want to share now, since we're talking about food, was I had some beautiful roasts that were part of this quarter cow. I threw it in a crock pot with some taco seasonings. I had like all the sides you would make for tacos, and I made him these gourmet tacos for his birthday. He's eating these, and he's like, I didn't even know you could do this with a taco. These are like 5-star Michelin chef tacos. How did you make these? To me, it was the simplest thing in the world, but he thought it was amazing food. And so we ate so well that first month as we acclimated to each other and to his new situation. He got passes to get a haircut, go to various doctors, and get everything checked out after being away for so long, make sure he was still in good shape. Even get dental passes, anything he can get. Eventually, they allowed him to go to a bank to, start an account, and a mall to, do some shopping so he could have actual clothes and not just what he had. And little by little, he slowly acclimated to things. During this time, he would get calls. Dr. Tom, Dr. Ted, and Blaine would check up on him, check up on me to make sure, are you okay with this situation? Are you guys getting along? And Kevin would just tell him, it's like, oh, we're great. We get along like peas and carrots. It's kind of an old saying, but that's okay. So we had a lot of fun together, and we started to learn. And of course, in that first month, I asked him every question I had. What did you learn from your time away? Uh, don't poke the bear. That was one of the first things he said. Be careful who you piss off. Don't piss off the judge or whoever else. Obviously, he learned a lot more from that, but that was kind of a joke. It was a wonderful experience, and the best is yet to come. Uh, he hadn't even started things like Team Alpha. He hadn't even decided if he was going to go back to helping out with Jin and do training for Jin. He could still just retire. No one was after him. The courts weren't after him. They were happy that he was a prisoner. They didn't really care. In their minds, they'd taken care of, you know, the scourge of Kevin Trudeau. Well, obviously that's not really the case, but they left him alone, and so we just kind of enjoyed our time and got to know each other, and it was a really unique and amazing time for both of us. More more to come very soon on part 3. Hope you enjoyed this video.